guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. It feels like forever since I've sat and filmed a sit down video, and that's because I was busy getting married, having a honeymoon, and being in one of my best friend's weddings. So it's been a whirlwind of a summer, but I'm super happy to be back on YouTube and sitting down and filming today's video, which is my best tips and tricks I learned while wedding planning. So these are really tips and tricks that I learned throughout the process. These of course are what worked for me, but I must say my wedding went off without a hitch. It was easily the best day of my life, and I can really confidently say that with total sincerity. And if you asked me about a month before my wedding, like the 4th of July weekend, if you asked me if I thought my wedding was going to go really smoothly and be the best day of my life, I would tell you no way. I actually created a vlog that weekend that I ended up never posting because of a fluke where my hard drive didn't save the footage, didn't save the edited footage, and so I took that as a sign not to post it. But I was very stressed out. I was very upset at the prices of things and how things were going, but somehow from that 4th of July weekend to when I got married on August 10th, everything really came together. So if you're in the throes of wedding planning, this is your sign not to worry, to keep going and to keep making practical choices and really listen to your gut. But you know, if you maybe are just starting out in the process, or maybe you're 6 to 8 months away from your wedding, I feel like these tips will really help you. And if you are getting married really soon, first off, congratulations, but I do have a lot of tips for the day of as well. So let's get into this week's video. Before I begin, I did want to just say that I do acknowledge that a lot of things did end up going right for my day. There were a lot of good graces, the weather was really nice, and so there were a lot of things that I obviously couldn't control that really did end up working out for me. And I felt so blessed and so happy to have had good weather, and you know, none of my bridesmaids or vendors were sick, or there was nothing like that happened, because I was really afraid of something like that happening the last minute. Oh, the photographer is getting sick, or one of the girls can't be in the wedding the day of, something like that. But fortunately, everything like that all went really smoothly. But these tips are not for what you can't control, but they are things that you can do to control your day and to make it the best possible day for yourself. So number one, you really have to identify what is it that you need on your wedding day that will make you happy, that will make you excited to be there. It could be something as small as starting your day off with your usual Starbucks order. It could be scheduling your day so that you have a lot of time to be on the dance floor with your family and friends. It could be taking a lot of photos and really thinking through your detail shots. Those were all things that I needed in order to have my day be, what I wanted it to be. I feel like some people thought I was being a bridezilla by being I am definitely getting my Starbucks the morning of my wedding. I'm not getting Dunkin' Donuts coffee, I'm not having hotel coffee, I'm having Starbucks coffee. And you know what, that's great if you think that that's a bridezilla, but I think that's really just, you going in with your day and being I'm gonna start the day out on the best foot possible. How do I do that? Oh, I drink my favorite order from Starbucks. So I think it's really important to identify these things that you need in order to feel happy on your wedding day. It could be, hiring a wedding planner if you kind of struggle more with that scheduling aspect of it. It could be, booking a certain beauty treatment. It could be anything like that. But I would just, at the very beginning of your wedding planning process, or even if you are 6 months away, 5 months away, anything like that, just really think about what you need on that day of that's going to make you happy. My second tip is I would spend the most money, so I would allocate the most of your budget to your photographer and your flowers. We paid a pretty hefty price for our photographer, and I absolutely loved the results. They are incredible pictures that we will cherish forever. I think it's so important to invest in good photography, because at the end of the day is going to be over, in 10, 12 hours, and that's it. You're married. But if you really do invest in those higher quality photos, you'll have them forever to look back on. And I think that's so important. Definitely get 2 photographers, get, big packages, invest in your photography. I also think it's really important to invest in real flowers. I think a lot of people on TikTok or Instagram kind of try to deter you from having real flowers, and they offer these options of fake flowers or smaller bouquets. But I wouldn't do that. I absolutely love my bouquet, It was very large. It was a cascading bouquet, and it really made the pictures, if you asked me. I loved the color arrangement of it. Again, we went with like a higher quality florist, and I knew I wanted to contract with him immediately after our initial meeting. He was so helpful, and I was just able to tell him like my general idea and vision, and he really made it come to life and chose like exactly what colors I wanted. The bouquet, there was like no surprises. It was literally what I envisioned. It was so, so good, and I love seeing my flowers again back in those pictures. And yes, it was a lot of money, but I think it's definitely worth it. I think definitely allocate more of your money to photography and flowers, and cut out things like photo booths. You know, nobody really needs a photo booth. You're probably not going to have time to use your own photo booth on your wedding. So those are kind of the sacrifices we made. Like, we didn't do a photo booth, we didn't spend a ton of money on transportation, and as a result we were able to allocate more of our budget to things like photography and florals. Number 3, I cannot reinforce how important it is to have a good timeline on your wedding day, and to really stick to your timeline, and to force vendors, bridesmaids, your wedding party to stick to that timeline. I really thought out my timeline. I made a couple different versions of it. I did my research. I googled things like, how long do detail shots typically take? How long do you need for like changing into your dress? And I kind of researched from different sites, and also asked my photographer, and I was in contact with him. He gave me his own timeline. I actually gave him a couple revisions because I wanted him there even earlier. And people said to me at my wedding, like, wow, your wedding is like one of the only weddings that's ever started on time. My photographer was like, we have all this extra time, like, do you want more pictures? We were able to take so many pictures because of my timeline, and we started very early in the morning. I'm not a morning person, so I didn't like love the idea of waking up at 5:45 in the morning, but I did, and I was so happy I did that. I was so happy I asked the girls to be early. I was so happy I had my hair and makeup come early. Definitely give yourself more time than you think you need. I saw someone say that as a rule on your wedding day, you should add like 15 extra minutes to everything, because that's how much longer it's going to take, because you know you're moving around in your dress, so it's harder to move as quickly as you normally would move. So you have to like account for things like bathroom breaks and just like walking slower. You also have to account for like things going wrong, or like people stopping and talking to you, and adding that kind of stuff in. So I definitely like really set up a good concrete timeline, vet it with your photographer, your videographer, and then send it out to your wedding party in advance of the wedding. I sent mine out about a week before the wedding, so everyone was on the same page. I sent it to everyone in the wedding party, plus my husband's parents and my parents, so everybody could know where they needed to be and at what times. And like I said, if I found a vendor kind of lagging a little bit, I told them like, hey, this is it. Like, at my venue, I remember going to the DJ and being like, yeah, I'm ready for the entrance, like, let's go, like, let's get on with it. And you know, as a result of being proactive like that, I really got to take all the pictures I wanted to take. I got to stay on the dance floor for a long time, and everything went really smoothly. I feel like I'm gonna have to speed this up because I've already been talking for 10 minutes and I have so many more tips. But tip number 4 is, I would not ask for other people's opinions during the wedding planning process. I wouldn't ask for them at all. Like, I would just listen to your gut. I would, you know, do your research, look at what kind of color combinations you like on Pinterest, watch other people's wedding videos on YouTube and TikTok. You know, do your research, definitely take some ideas from places, but I would just not like ask, you know, your mom doesn't have to like the bridesmaids' dresses. Your bridesmaids don't have to like the bridesmaids' dresses. Newsflash, like, it's your day, it's your wedding. And like, I think it's crazy that some people think that, you know, they can decide what is the outcome for someone else's wedding. I would never be like that. If I've been in multiple weddings, and I would never tell the bride like, oh, I don't like this dress that you picked out for us. So I think that's pretty crazy that there are people out there like that. Fortunately, I didn't have anyone really like that in my inner circle. I would say my mom would be the most likely to tell me if she didn't like something, but I didn't really give her the opportunity to because she got married once, and I think all of the decisions that you make for your wedding should be between you and your partner, and it shouldn't be decisions that your friends or family or vendors are making for you. Like, you should call the shots. I'd rather have something be screwed up because I screwed it up than because somebody else did. And also, you are the one paying the money. You are the one signing the contract. So think about that when you make your decisions. Number 5, I would book all of my vendors very early, as soon as possible, and I would do everything for the wedding as early as I possibly could. Don't let like any time elapse. Like, you will have like downtime where you're going to be not exactly sure what you should be working on, but there's so many different things you can do. Like, for example, I reached out to the organist at our church in January, and he gave me the ceremony music, and so I was able to select the ceremony music months in advance of my actual wedding. So whenever it came down to, you know, like the last 6 weeks to my wedding, I was doing those like immediate things that had to be done at that time, like creating the seating chart and the place cards and submitting, you know, final payments to vendors. So I was able to spend my time on that because I was really prioritizing getting other things done early. Like, another thing that I did super early on was I created my registry, my wedding website. I created a getting ready playlist for the day of. I did all that kind of stuff like almost a year before the actual wedding date. And I was engaged for 13 months. That was how long it was for me to plan this entire wedding, for context. I probably should have said that at the beginning of this video. But do everything early, book the vendors early. The best vendors are always going to go pretty fast. My next tip is to give yourself weekly tasks. I created this checklist on my phone of things that I needed to do every single week, and at the beginning of my wedding planning process, I like went down and created things, like I said, for every single week, like what week I needed to order the guest book, when did I need to submit my final playlist to the DJ, when did I need to submit payments to the videographer, when did I need to fill out the videography editing checklist, when did I need to buy the bridesmaid gifts. So I like created like I said, this huge list in my phone, and now I feel lost about it because I was literally referring to it for an entire year, and every single week I would have deliverables for myself to be accountable. And I think I would definitely do something like that. I've seen people do the big boards on TikTok where you like peel off a sticky note when you accomplish something. I like the convenience of having my phone. I have my phone always with me. I didn't need to refer to some book or, you know, poster board or something like that. I would just recommend doing it on your phone, but you know, whatever works for you. I would definitely set something up where you're doing work on your wedding literally every single week. Number 7 is create playlists. Definitely create a playlist for your getting ready morning of vibes. So many people told me how much they loved my playlist that we listened to in the bridal suite. They said the songs were like so relaxing, put them in such a good mood. And if you want to use my playlist, it is on Spotify. My Spotify account is KGreco3, and my playlist is called Getting Ready to Marry the Love of My Life. And I do think it's pretty good. It's about 3.5 hours long, and we actually used it at my friend's wedding as well. She liked it so much, she wanted to use it. And I think, you know, it's really cool to kind of set the vibe with some of your favorite songs. Make sure you're hearing them on your wedding day, you know, in case your DJ doesn't play them later or whatever. But I would definitely create a Getting Ready playlist for the morning of. It just really sets the vibe for the entire day. And again, it's something that gets you in a good mood, which is so important. And I'm going to talk more about that later. But also definitely submit playlists to your DJ. I did not expect my DJ to play my entire playlist, but he did. He said it was good. He said if it wasn't good, he wouldn't play it. But again, I got a lot of compliments on the playlist. A lot of people said it was like a great playlist for millennials, and that was such a compliment to, like, I thought that was such a compliment. I love that, and that's exactly the vibe I was going for. Like, a lot of like nostalgic throwback songs, a lot of songs that they play, you know, when we go out to our favorite bars and clubs, and we just wanted it to be like a fun vibe. Again, we weren't really catering towards like my parents and their friend group. We weren't playing like a lot of songs from like the 80s and 70s or anything like that. We weren't really catering to like my brother's friends and like the Gen Z crowd. It was like our friend group, like, you know, people in their late 20s and early 30s. So I think that was really cool that my DJ actually did play my entire playlist, but he also played the playlist that we set out for cocktail hour. and dinner as well. So I thought that was super cool, and I think that's a really unique way to add a touch onto your wedding, is just to really play your own favorite songs. Like if you like Taylor Swift, play the Taylor Swift songs. Again, it's your day. Like you shouldn't be playing songs from like the Bee Gees or whoever if you don't like those kind of songs. Like don't play the cheesy wedding crowd pleasers if it's only going to cater to like your aunts and uncles and your parents' 3 friends, and you and your friends are not really going to be enjoying it. Make sure your playlists reflect your personalities and what kind of music that you like to listen to. Number 8, don't buy anything you can't afford. Honestly, I think the cost aspect of throwing a wedding was definitely the most stressful thing for me personally. I was perpetually worried about how we were going to pay for everything. I mean, fortunately, Nick is a physician. He earns a lot of money, so he was able to pay for a lot of our wedding. Fortunately, I had a good chunk of savings that I was able to use for my wedding. My parents gave us a little bit of money, but not much. And it was tough. Like I was really budgeting more than I've ever budgeted before, but we came away from our wedding with $0 of debt. We paid for, I would say, like 90% of the wedding ourselves. Maybe more than that, maybe like 95% honestly, and it was a lot of money. And I feel like at times I would be very stressed whenever it was like, okay, $5,000 to the photographer, $2,000 to the florist, $1,000 to the makeup artist. Like, you know, that was crazy and overwhelming, and I've never spent this much money ever in my entire life until my wedding. So I think it was pretty stressful. And I feel like at the end of the day, we had a lot of money, like extra, like more money saved up because we thought things were going to be more expensive. But even with like the safety of like we have like a little extra, if it's going to be a little bit higher than we think, I still felt very stressed and very nervous about how much money we were spending. So I think that can really ruin your wedding planning experience if you are buying things that are out of your budget or too expensive. I would definitely like stick to your budget, and I would never like go into debt over a wedding. I think it's so crazy. I've seen TikToks where people are like, they've taken all this money out of their retirement accounts and like things like that. It's like, that was absolutely not Nick and I's situation at all. Like fortunately we had like other savings for this wedding, but I think that's crazy, and definitely it's not worth it. It's one day of your life. Honestly, it goes by so fast, and your wedding is going to be nice. There's great ways to make your wedding nice without spending like so much extra money, because you are going to be spending thousands of dollars, but you can go to Hobby Lobby and buy signage for your wedding. You don't have to get it all custom made on Etsy, you know, and you can save probably a couple $100s by doing something like that, or designing your invitations yourself instead of paying for somebody else to design them. So I would definitely stick to a budget and don't overspend. Number 9, say yes to professional hair and makeup. Now this may be a little niche. I feel like a lot of people do decide to get their hair and makeup done on the day of their wedding. However, this was something I was very on the fence about, because now that I've been in another wedding, I've been in 3 weddings, and I've never had my makeup done. I've had my makeup done at one of the weddings, but I had my hair done at all 3, and 2 out of the 3 weddings I did not like how my hair came out. I thought my makeup was okay at the one wedding I did, but I didn't love it. And I think because of those experiences, I thought, I can just do my own hair and makeup, because I think I'm pretty good at hair and makeup. But I ended up booking hair and makeup back like last October. It was the last big vendor I booked, actually. Because I knew like my bridesmaids wanted it, I knew my mom wanted it, and I was like, well, I have to get it too if they're getting it. And I felt like I was really happy that I did decide to do that when I had my bridal shower earlier this summer, because I felt very stressed and running around trying to do everything for my bridal shower and get myself ready. And that's when I realized like that's such a good move that I did book the hair and makeup on the day of the wedding, because again, you're going to be worried about a lot of different things, pulled in different directions, and it's just nice to sit back and relax and have somebody else do your hair and makeup. Also, I loved how my hair and makeup turned out at my wedding. I thought it was amazing, and I think that's because, one, like when you're in other people's weddings, the bride has picked the makeup artist, and they like the makeup artist for whatever reason, you know, they picked them. So you yourself can research makeup artists that maybe are a little bit more giving the kind of glam that you wanted, because the girl that I had, she did very like modern, like trendy glam. She was into like full glam, but nothing like crazy. Like she liked neutrals, and that was like so my style. And so I really liked how it turned out on me. And plus you'll have the hair and makeup trial where you can, you know, tell them really exactly what you want and sit down and have those conversations. So I would definitely do the hair and makeup. Even if you think you can do your own hair and makeup, it will just be nice to sit back and relax on the day of your wedding and have someone else take care of that for you. Number 10, buy all of the bridal things. I feel like it's so stupid when people are like, oh, you're never gonna wear that t-shirt that says bride on it after your wedding. And it's like, heck yes I am. I'm wearing it to sleep now. And also that's just like not the point. Like you only get one time in your life to be a bride, to be a fiance. So I would just definitely buy like all the white clothing, you know, all the little merch. I think that stuff is super fun and super cute. It just really enhances your whole experience. So I say buy it. Number 11, don't do QR codes at your tables for guests to like upload pictures on it. In fact, don't do any type of cloud or drive for guests to upload pictures on it, because I almost did one of those QR services where you pay like $150 and you have like a app or portal or something and guests upload the pictures and you can see what they took. But let me just tell you this. I have all the raw footage from my wedding from my videographers. I have like 860 color photos and 860 black and white photos from my photographer. And that is overwhelming enough. I've also had people just randomly send me or my parents pictures, and those are really nice, cool candids, and I do appreciate them, but I think it would just be so overwhelming to have all of these pictures from all of these people, and they're not going to be good quality pictures. They're going to be dark pictures. They might be unflattering. You're paying your photographer for the pictures, so don't pay for another service where other people can upload these pictures, because one, people just send you pictures anyway, and two, like, those aren't going to be the pictures you post online, the pictures that Aunt Sue sent you, because they're just not going to be as good as your photographer. It's nice to have like different people's perspectives, but I just, again, I wouldn't pay for a service. It's just not an expense that you need. And my 12th tip is I would not do an expensive guest book. I'm so glad, again, I decided to save money and I got a guest book on Etsy for like $50 maybe. I was thinking about doing like more creative ideas or something, you know, more of an experience, but I don't know. Like I said, I've been to a lot of weddings over the last couple of years, and I can only remember signing like 1 or 2 people's guest books. Like that's just not a priority for most people. We hardly had anybody sign ours. Maybe they would have signed it if it was cooler or more interactive, but I don't know. Again, I also feel like people didn't really sign very personal things in it. Most people just said congratulations in their name, so it's not like super sentimental. So I wouldn't spend a ton of money on a guest book. But I probably have a whole part 2 of this, to be honest, but I've been talking for over 20 minutes. So we're gonna end the video now. If you have recently gotten married and if you have any tips and tricks for other brides, leave them down below, because we all want to help each other and we all want to have like the best days possible. I'm honestly so grateful for my wedding experience, and my family, my friends, my vendors, like everybody really did come through for me on the day of the wedding, and it all came together somehow. Like I said, if you're in the trenches, just keep going, keep planning and prioritizing, and it will work out in the end. I hope these tips were helpful to you. If they were, share them with your other bride-to-be friends, and I'll see you here next week, same time. Thanks for watching. Bye.